What's up, guys? Zaid here. I haven't uploaded in a couple days, so apologies for that if you're someone that avidly follows. And if you're new, I typically upload every day, but I'll be honest, I was a little bit busy this week. But I I was taking a little, not a break intentionally from Yu-Gi-Oh, but I hadn't been playing for like 4 or 5 days, and I had the idea to mess around with this because I was watching DB Grinder's channel, and he was talking about Sword Soul, said the word HALQIFIBRAX, and it made me want to try a HALQIFIBRAX build of Sword Soul. So I put one together. This is a build I literally just put together today. So I don't think it's perfect. There's definitely room to be changed, but I thought it'd be a cool concept to talk about. And if there's anyone that has tried something like this or something completely different, but like along the same lines, or if you've never tried it and just have some recommendations, I'm mainly posting this for feedback. So please like blow up the comments with whatever you think might be cool in it, and I'm gonna just start going over the list. It's not in it like the best order either. This is literally just thrown together, and I decided to record. But for these Sword Soul monsters, it's pretty standard. 3 Sword Soul Mo Yi, 3 Long Yun, 2 Tai Ye, 3 Ecclesia. These cards are all insane. Like, this deck, most of the time, you could play like it's a Sword Soul deck if you need to. You also can do Sword Soul lines, and then when you get interrupted, you just like make a Hulk line, or you make a Hulk line first, get interrupted, make a Sword Soul line. It's just really neat. You have like all these cards that are already insane, but then you make the Tenyi cards even better. And speaking of the Tenyis, we got 3 Ashina, 3 Vishuddha, 3 Adhara, 3 Circle, 3 Vessel. This is almost like exactly the same as just like the standard Sword Soul list I was playing. The only like when I was playing standard Sword Soul, I was playing 3-2-2 on the Tenyis. So I added the third Vishuddha, third Adhara. Adhara is the most important one, and Vishuddha is good going second. And I wanted to have as many Tenyis as possible to make Vessel live. And so that's what put me up to 42. And then you see the 3 Garnets down here. That put me up to 45. And I cut Desires for Vessel, because like this gives me 9 copies of Adhara, and Adhara is the tuner, and so that gives me Hulkline. And Hulkline gives me 3 negates, and so that's kind of insane. If it goes off, you win. If it doesn't go off, your normal Sword Soul plays go off. So like I thought it was a really cool idea so far. Vessel's overperformed. It makes me want to play this card almost instead of Circle in the pure build, or at least test it, because this is my first time really playing this card in the deck, and it's so good. Like, sometimes it's dead, and that's a little annoying, and it only gives you access to the Tenyis, whereas the, what's it called? Heavenly Circle gets you into Protos, it gets you into Sword Soul stuff. Like, this card's definitely more versatile, but when you're playing Hulk, it makes this card insane, because the Tenyis are just enough to win the game. And then, of course, the Sthana. I actually think I will probably eventually take this out for the Wind one and test that. Just because, like, Protos Call Wind is so strong, and having this as an option to summon off, like, Ashina or something seems really good. You can do it before you would make the Baron. I don't know how you do it before Baron, actually, because Ashina locks you, but you know what I mean. Like, just the fact that it's Wind is cool. This has probably a better effect, but the attribute's not that relevant. I used to like the attribute of this one a lot when I played the level 8 Emancipator Synchro, but I haven't played that in a little bit, so this doesn't really come up. Then the Protos, of course. For hand traps, triple Ash, triple Veiler, triple Imperm. Imperm is the only one that is like just a hand trap, but Ash and Veiler are combo pieces, because you special Tenyi, normal hand trap, make Hulk. Before, these were still combo pieces, because you can go like special Ashina, summon Veiler, and you can go into the level 8 Synchro, the Chizao, or you could go special Ashina, normal Ash, and you can go into Baron. And while those aren't, the latter isn't a crazy combo, Ash and Ashina at all, but like Ashina and Veiler is pretty good. If you have another Worm in hand, then you get to get the search for Long Yun. If you have cards in Grave, you go Protos. Just depends on the rest of your hand, but it kind of facilitates combo. But in this build in particular, if it's uninterrupted, you end on 3 negates because of it. And so these cards are just like pretty strong. But it's also still a Sword Soul deck at the end of the day. And sometimes you're just going to have Mo Yi as a starter, and you're going to get Impermed, or you're going to get Veilered. And it's nice to have these hand traps as backup. Also, I don't think that Board Breakers are very good against the normal Sword Soul deck. But if I combo off Game 1, Game 2, and 3, they're probably going to put stuff in like Dark Ruler No More, Mystic Mine, and Droplet if they're siding them. And so still having hand trap pressure is kind of nice. And then I've got the Emergence, 3 of it, of course. This should probably be up here if this was sorted properly. 1 Sacred Summit and 1 Blackout. The Sacred Summit is honestly a lot more important in this build in particular. A cool line that I really like doing is like, if you just have Emergence, you can go Emergence, search Taiye, banish Emergence, summon token, synchro for 8, go into the Chizao, and then Chizao 1, Taiye 2. You're going to use Taiye to dump Adhara, and then you're going to search the Summit, and then just activate Summit for Adhara, and now you can full Halq combo. And you know you're not getting Impermed or Veilered because they would have used it on the Taiye. And then, if they have Nib, you got nibbed, oh well. Like, if all you had before was Taiye, you're going to have 1 monster negate, and the nib would stay in their hand, just hit you on the following turn. So, it's whatever. If all you had was Taiye, you could take the out of the nib, but you probably have follow-up. Like, this deck plays a lot of cards that are good. And then, the Blackout is Blackout. You need it at least for the combo to banish it off Chizao, and at most, it's amazing to search against certain matchups. And then the 3 Garnets, 001, Coltwing, and Creation Resonator. Coltwing, I had my first match earlier where I drew Coltwing. It felt awful. Still won. Like, this deck's really cool, and I played against Virtual World. Like, that deck kind of loses to itself. I ended up, because I drew the Coltwing, my M board was Protos Call Wind and the Yang Zing level 9 turning off lights, which cut off his ability to use Zeus to out my board. Also cut off his ability to use the Lulu and the long, whatever the other one is. Lao, I think? The level 6 of Summons from Grave. I forget its name, but you know what I'm talking about. And so, like, I think as I sit down and I really, like, process how to combo with Coltwing in hand, it's not that big a deal. Also, that's why we don't mind playing 45. But these two are legitimately just, like, combo pieces sometimes. If, say, you go, like, Mo Yi, reveal, special token, make Chizao, search, draw, and you happen to have Resonator in hand, then you just special Resonator, make Halq. And you're going to end on a little less interruptions from just, like, a Halq line than you would have prior. But, it doesn't matter. It's you drew the Garnet, and you're still able to full combo. Also, it's like a level 3 tuner, so you could just special Osh on a normal. It's the same thing as a hand trap in that sense. And then also, the line like where I'm talking about, if you go Taiye, right, and you open this, you actually still on the same amount of our interruptions, because you just with the Chizao search Summit, and then after you finish comboing, you Summit to bring back the Chizao, and that just like replaces the negate you missed because you drew this. And 01 doesn't change the combo at all if you draw it. You just summon it from hand with Halq. And so that's the main deck. I'm going to go over the extra deck next. The extra deck is where I'm like the most unsure, to be honest. So I'm actually going to move these over real quick. I'll go over the links first, which are Double Monk, a Halq, and an Auroradon. I cut Shaman completely. I cut Monk down to 2. The only reason I even play 2 Monk is so you still have access to the line going second where you go special Ashina into Monk, Ashina affects summon Vishuda into Monk, Vishuda bounce. That's the sole reason I play 2 Monk. If I didn't need access to that line to help clear boards going second, I would just play 1 for the extra slot. And then the reasons I cut Shaman were mainly because, like, if I'm Halq comboing, I can't use them because I believe it's Auroradon that locks you out of links. And oftentimes, the Shaman isn't really coming up in this type of build because I'm trying to Halq combo. And, like, if you go, the Shaman tends to come up when, like, you'll special a Tenyi, and then you'll normal a, what's it called, a Swordsoul, and your thing will get negated, and you're like, shit, I can't do anything. So you'll just go Shaman pitch Taiye, special Taiye effect, and end on at least, like, the Draco Berserker. But in this build, you're hopefully going to have, like, one of the 9 Adhara, and you're just going to, like, special Adhara normal Mo Yi. They imperm the Mo Yi. They're not expecting you to have full combo with just what you have on board. And then you put up 3 negates. And then, let me move these around a little bit real quick. Let me move the level 8s over. I play a nice variety of level 8 synchros. Only 1 Chizao. Chizao is mainly, like, a starter / extender for this deck where, I can do the Chizao line with Taiye that I was talking about, Or I can like just do a normal play, like a Swordsoul play, where you end on She's Out Baron. But during the Helk line, this doesn't come up. And since I'm more oriented towards doing the Helk line, I only play the one for the Swordsoul line. And then if I need like recovery on the following turn, a card like Baxia kind of has to take that slot. There have been games where I kind of wished I had the Cheese Out, but I was able to make it work and still win because you have like just a higher variety now of level 8s. We also play the Baxia that the lists already play, and the Draco Berserker, which these are the same in this list as they are in other lists. They just are really strong cards. They're for worms when you get locked into worms, because you do occasionally need the Ashina early on, and you just can't help that turn. So you want to have access to everything that the deck normally has access to. And then these are the two that we predominantly play for Helk combo. The Boarload Savage is for just your standard line, where you're going normal summon something that's a tuner, or you're going like special summon Vishuddha, turn it into Monk, special Adhara, Helk. And so during that line, just off of like tuner, non-tuner, special summon, the end board is the Boarload Savage, the Baron de Fleur, and the Herald of the Arclight. So 3 Omni Negates off 2 Tenyis. And then the Omega is predominantly for lines where you open, say I open like Adhara, something to normal summon, and a Long Yun and with discard fodder. I'll go like special Adhara, Long Yun pitch, special, make the Baron, and then you'll burn them, and you'll commit your normal summon then, and then you turn the tuner, non-tuner into Helk, and you do the normal line. But you come up to where, because you have Baron, you don't have the amount of monster zones you need to put up every synchro you'd normally want. So instead of Savage, we have to go into Omega because it clears itself off board. So it's not like a hard interruption. It's not an Omni Negate. But we're trading with a card in their hand. And then it also will give us follow-up. Like, on their standby phase, it's already banished because we needed it for space. So it's not immediately giving us Tenyis back. But the assumption, if they're playing through the level or the amount of negates we're putting up, is that Omega, we're going to live. And Omega's going to come back, and we're going to attack with all our stuff, and then Omega's going to be able to put something back, and we just keep going. And then this card also, like, I believe is becoming standard in the list, simply so that you can send it against the Invoked matchup, where they'll make Maximus, and they'll make you send. So you'll just send this and be able to put their DPE back. But in this, it has the utility of oftentimes coming up, like, for the normal... normal summon, not normal, but special summon in it. And then, one more thing about this card. I had a game today where I went summon Moe, effect, reveal, special token. They there canned, so I didn't get the token. And then I just specialed, the Ecclesia and then went into Omega. It was against a striker matchup. And I was able to get my Moe draw, and it came up with it not being a worm or a spellcaster. But he also had searched Hornet Drones. And so I was able to kill his Link and then stop the Hornet Drones in hand, so he had no like way to follow up, and I was really strong in that. And of course the Baron, and then the Ching Young. This card is even cooler in this one, because in the line I was talking about where you Long Yun first and you end on Baron. So instead of making the Savage, you make Omega, and then instead of making the Baron during the line, because the line gives you a level 10 synchro, you just make this instead. So the line where you have to, not have to, but opt to make Baron first to play around Nibiru, you then end on Baron, Cheng Ying, the Herald, and the Omega ripping a card out of their hand. And Herald, conveniently enough, monsters that are sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard are banished. So not only is it a floodgate, but if they do play into it or are forced to play into it, it makes this card live. And so that's like really insane. Then we play the Chow Fang still. Not only can you use this for just like the normal lines that you would use it for before, but it gives you added utility to where I was saying, I drew Coltwing in a game, and I was still able, using my like token access and my Baxi and stuff, I was able to make this with the Protoss, and it was really strong. But then there's also lines where you can make this instead of the Baron before making the Helk play to make you immune to Nib and Valor. And so it's just really strong in that regard. It's also, of course, like the normal plays where you pop it with Swordsoul Blackout out their board, either search recovery in the form of Ecclesia or search another hand trap to stop them from playing. And then we play the Cupid Pitch to search creation, the Herald of the Arclight just to make off of a 001 and a level 3 token. And then Yazi is a more recent addition. This, I cut it to fit stuff in, but I kept Shaman, and then I cut Shaman to put the Yazi back in. Just for plays where you can go into a 7, honestly. Like, going second, if I Aurored on, I've got 3, 3, 3, 1, because 3 level 3 tokens, and then the level 1. I could go, like, Despot 001, 2 tokens into Yazi, pop something, special Swordsoul from deck, and just, like, continue to combo. I haven't summoned it yet, but I wanted to try it because Shaman wasn't coming up. And so that's the main and extra. Those are the things that matter most in the sense like that I want more feedback on. The side deck is just a side deck, and I could see this changing in the future, but I'm more concerned about the main and extra and making my engine do what I want it to do. So if you have feedback, I'd prefer to hear it on main and extra, but if you have recommendations for the side, I'll still listen. I've got 1 red reboot. This isn't even really for back row, of course. It's for Leer Lusk, but it doubles up as back row hate. In regards to back row hate, we also have Triple Twin Twister. In this deck, I play a lot of Tenyis, so the discard is almost a combo piece, and I want it to be able to be chained to order, because since resolving Hulk is like game, these cards that help me get Adhara are a lot more valuable to me than typical spells are in this deck. And so I want to be able to chain it. And the blowout cards often, like, Twin Twister and the blowout cards lose to the same type of thing, except order and anti-spell. Where these don't lose to order anti-spell, the blowouts like Lightning Storm do. But, like, this still loses to a judgment, but they're paying half and there's a chance I kill them, so fuck it. And then for hand traps, triple token, triple nib, triple droll, double phantasme. Phantasme has been a cool one where it gives you a body. It helps you fix your hand. It gets Colt Wing out of the hand, which is a fucking savior. And getting these out of hand is just nice too. So it also gives you immunity to Veil or Imperm going second. Like, those cards are still in people's decks when they're going second against, or when they're going first against you. And so being able to put this out, oftentimes it's a free extender because now you can just normal summon a hand trap tuner or the Adhara and it's your full combo. But also if you don't go that line and say you go Mo Yi effect, they can't Imperm Veiler because you'll just negate it by discarding a Tenyi, and you'll just get immense amount of value. And then the Droll and Nib. Droll is like the best against Leer Lusk. Nib is really strong in a lot of matchups. It's also, like I said, with Phantasme and Extender because of tuners. And then Token Collector, you win in the mirror. Again, it's an extender with a tuner to make Hulk to win the game. Yep, that's the deck. I would appreciate any feedback. And just let me know what you think. I feel like this idea has been toyed around with before, but if you guys think you have any ideas to make it like even more unique or more strong, more consistent, any cards like any Cupid pitch targets I'm missing that could be strong, any engines, stuff. For example, I was thinking about Emergency Teleport and Ghost Ogre, because like the level 3 matters for extending into Baron. It's a tuner to go into Hulk. It's a level 3 to go with a level 4 to go into Yazi on to break the opponent's board going second. Just like there's a lot to think about, and if you have anything to suggest, let me know, and thank you for watching.